Avoid investing in Houston real estate in 2025 unless you can handle these 10 truths. So, before you buy another Houston rental property, you need to hear these 10 brutal truths that could save you thousands of dollars or that could destroy your real estate investing for the future. Most agents will actually not tell you this because they do care about their commission check. But I care about you, and that's why I'm going to be sharing with you 10 brutally honest truths about rental property investing in the Houston, Texas area. And if you cannot handle these 10 truths, please do not invest in Houston. Truth number 1 will shock you with property tax costs. The truth number 7 could cost you $50,000 if you are not prepared for it. And the truth number 10 might actually make you reconsider everything. The truth number 1 is the property tax will actually shock you. Property tax in Houston aren't just high, they are wealth destroyers. So if you don't plan correctly and you don't analyze the property correctly, you will be shocked. Everyone talks about no state income tax in Texas, but they don't tell you that Harris County average around 2.4% to 2.8% in property tax rates. You can even see the tax rate as high as 3.6%. So let me give you a real number right here. $400,000 property in Katy, Texas, right? You are paying around $12,000 to $16,000 per year in property taxes. That is about $1,000 to $1,300 per month just in property taxes. So most investors will budget for around $800 to $900 on property taxes monthly, but they get quickly disappointed once they see the real amount going to property taxes on their mortgage payments every single month. Now, I've seen investors lose properties simply because they couldn't just afford their property tax payments. They never properly calculate property taxes, or they were just misled by their agents. So please don't make this mistake. Make sure to get the proper tax rate for the neighborhood, for the property you're looking to buy, and clearly understand your full mortgage payment. Now, this is a mistake most people always make. If you're buying a new construction, do not use the estimated taxes they are using for the current year. Use the projected taxes it will be for the following year, because when you're buying a property, let's say you're buying a property in July 2025, as of January 2025, the city is still seeing that property as an empty land, and they are using the value of empty lots to assess the property tax amount. But by the January 2026, once they come back, they will see that, oh, that property is no longer an empty lot, it's now a full house, and they will be assessing the full value of the property. Let's now say the property is $450,000. Now you're going to be paying taxes based on the value of your property of $450,000 as compared to the lot value in 2025 that was maybe around $80,000. So this is a big mistake a lot of first-time home buyer, first-time investors always make. So please make sure to avoid this at all costs. Now, here is additional conservative approach you can also take. Let's say you're buying a property and the tax rate is around 2.5% for that neighborhood, for that property, right? You can estimate it to be around 2.6 or 2.7%, because this will make you to be conservative in your deal analysis, because as you already know, it's better to be conservative than to be too optimistic and eventually lose your property. You can use the Harris County Appraiser District, which is your hcad.org, to research the property taxes of that particular property or of that neighborhood. And you can also use Property Tax 101 for future tax projection calculators. And this takes me to my truth number 2, that if you cannot handle this truth, please don't buy property in Houston, Texas. It is hurricane and flood insurance cost. You see, hurricane and flood insurance will hit your cash flow alive if you are not strategic about the location. Now, don't get me wrong, Houston is not all part of Houston that flood, but some part of Houston do flood, and they do flood really bad. So that's why you want to make sure you avoid them, especially if you are buying out of state. You want to make sure you fly down, you work with somebody that is very experienced with the local, with the neighborhood, and they can easily help you avoid this mistake. That is what I do for a living. If you need my help, I'm always available to help. Now, the popular one is the Hurricane Harvey. Hurricane Harvey wasn't just one in a lifetime event. It was a preview, and flood insurance cost $1,200 to $5,000 per year, especially for those areas that were badly hit with Hurricane Harvey. And I must tell you that you have to pay this insurance upfront and cannot be rolled into your mortgage payment, unfortunately. So again, you need to understand the full cost of buying that property, not just the purchase price and your down payment. So here is what smart investors do instead. We avoid the flood zone completely. I don't even care if I'm getting a good deal and it looks really good. If it's in a flood zone 100 or 500 year floodplain, I'm out of that property and that neighborhood. Wind and hail insurance, you may ask, that's another $2,000 to $3,000 annually for a typical rental property. And when Hurricane Barry hit last year, I watched investors get hit with $10,000 or more in deductible, including myself. I was affected with Hurricane Barry, even though my property was not in a flood zone. But again, this is just one of those natural disasters that just affect properties regardless of flood zone. And unfortunately, I was also affected. I can remember I paid up to $40,000 in insurance deductible because I have this multi-family that were badly affected. 5 of my properties were actually affected, and I had to deal with insurance for me to get them fixed and get them back into rent-ready situation. Luckily for me, my tenants were very cooperative and they were able to work with me while I'm navigating the insurance complexity. So you want to factor between $4,000 to $6,000 annually for comprehensive insurance coverage, and also you want to stick to areas with minimal or no flood history. Your cash flow depends on it. Trust me, you will thank me later if you follow this step. Now you can use your FEMA flood map to determine which area will actually flood or not. You can use your floodsmart.gov, you can use msc.fema.gov, and you can also use insurancequotes.com to compare insurance rates before you actually buy that property. That takes me to the truth number 3, which a lot of people always ignore, is the extreme weather heat that can destroy properties here in Texas. During the summer, you can see Houston weather as hot as 105 degrees. Houston extreme heat and humidity would destroy your property faster than you can think of. And what does this mean to you? It means that you should be factoring in some costs as well as an investor. We are talking about 95 to 105 degrees with 90 degrees humidity from May through your October. That is 6 months of your AC unit running 24/7. AC replacement costs can range between $6,000 to $10,000 per unit depending on the size of the house, and most Houston rentals need AC replacement every 10 to 12 years instead of your typical 15 years. I typically budget $500 to $700 per year for AC maintenance and repair on any of my properties. The Houston humidity will cause mold issue, warp flooring, and paint problem. If you are buying any home over 10 years old and the AC is not new, your maintenance budget needs to be between 5 to 7% as compared to 3 to 5% if you are thinking about cooler climate. Smart investors I know of, including myself, buy property with newer HVAC system, and we factor in higher maintenance costs for the AC from day one that we close on that property. So don't get caught off guard by buying property with older AC and now the AC maintenance cost is hitting you alive. You want to make sure you use website like yourhomeadvisor.com to get AC, quotes, what is cost to replace AC. You also want to set aside maintenance budget for AC every single month as you are collecting your rental check. Make sure you are setting money aside. As a matter of fact, it should be part of your rental analysis calculation, part of the things that you put money aside for, because you want to save money for the raining days, because the AC will break down at some point. It could be 5 years, it could be 7 years that you own the property. At some point, they will need to be replaced. That takes me to the truth number 4, which is mosquitoes and pest control costs in the Houston area and Texas generally. Pest control isn't optional in the Houston area. It is a survivor expense that tenants would demand from you as a landlord. Even as a homeowner, it is something that you should be doing. You should have a pest control on a payroll every 4 months, every 3 months, every 6 months. As the case may be, I do know I have, somebody, a company, a pest control company on a payroll in my house, and they come to my house every 3 months to do the pest control, just because I don't want any kind of roaches or hands walking into my house, because it could be very hot outside there, and these hands are looking for a cooler atmosphere, and of course they're going to find your house as a cool space that they can hide while the weather outside became favorable again to them. So I don't want that to be my house, so I have a pest control company on a payroll. So like you already know, the humidity will create giant mosquitoes army that makes property unlivable without professional treatment. Tenants will break leases if you don't provide pest control. Again, that's why I provide pest control in all my properties. And professional pest control will run you between $100 to $200 per month, depending on your property size. But typically, if you have them on the payroll, they might do it for like $50 for you every time they come around. And again, depending on the size of your property. So that is about $1,000 to $1,200 annually that you must factor into your analysis and your budget as a rental property investors. I have seen tenants break leases and move out over mosquito problem. Better to pay for professional treatment than deal with vacancy and releasing costs that can be so expensive. So like I said, you want to factor in the pest control costs into your operating expenses from day one before you even close on that property. And if you don't want to do this, you can definitely spell it out in your lease agreement to make it a tenant's responsibility in their lease agreement to make sure they're going to be doing the pest control every 2 months, every 3 months as your lease agreement suggests. So don't get blindsided on this one. You can use Angie's List or TomTrack.com to find reliable pest control companies that are also affordable, and check Bigger Pocket Forum as well to see how other landlords are dealing with pest control issues on their properties. There might be other strategies out there for you to save costs when it comes to pest control on your rental property. That takes me to the truth number 5, which is drainage and flooding issue. Houston drainage problem will cost you money even outside official flood zones. Houston is built on swamp with clay soil. When it rains hard, which happen weekly during the summer, water has nowhere to go. I've seen properties flood from poor drainage, not hurricane. Property with drainage issues are tenants' nightmare. Soggy yard, standing water, and foundation problem from poor drainage can destroy your property overnight. So you want to make sure you are always inspecting for drainage pattern during your property walkthrough and during your home inspection. Look for standing water sign, look for foundation issue, and the yard grading problems that you can find. At all costs, I will avoid properties in a low-lying area with poor yard drainage. The deal isn't worth the headache and the repair costs you will face on the long run. You can use floodfactor.com and research flood risk by the address of the property you are buying. You can also use topographymap.com to analyze the property elevation and drainage pattern before you close on that property. And that takes me to the truth number 6, which is traffic impact on rental demand. Houston traffic isn't just an inconvenience, it is a direct impact on your rental demand and property value. Houstonians spend around 46 hours per year stuck in traffic. Properties with brutal commutes to major employment centers struggle with tenant retention because tenants just don't like driving too much and stuck in traffic just for them to get into their job. And if they can't get to job, they can't continue to pay your rent. And if they can't pay your rent, they're going to have to move out or they default on their rent payment, which is going to lead to eviction. So as you can see, the problem continues just from traffic issue alone. I typically focus on properties near major employment hub. I'm talking about your medical center, downtown Houston. I'm talking about your energy corridor, West Chase, Cypress, KD, major highways. This is where I like to buy properties because I know that if my property is strategically located, I will have zero issue finding qualified tenants. And above all, tenants actually pay premium rent to avoid horrible commute, horrible traffic to their job. So properties with more than 30 minutes to major jobs centered during the rush hour will struggle to rent, and the vacancy will pile up really fast. Even when you discount the property, you will still have problem renting it. So location isn't just about the neighborhood, it is about the commute time to where people work. So you want to factor this into every single deal you analyze, not just looking at the number look good on Excel spreadsheet, but what about the commute? How is it convenient for tenants to get to their job? How is it convenient for them to get to major amenities they would like to enjoy? Among other things you should look out for before you sign that purchase agreement. Now you can easily use your Google map during the rush hour to test commute time and check for Indeed.com and LinkedIn to research major employers in the area and see how many people are actually working for this employer. That will help you make a smart decision before you sign the purchase agreement. That takes me to the truth number 7, which is no zoning law in Houston equals to investment risk. This could cost you $50,000. Houston has no zoning law, which means that your investment could be destroyed overnight. A strip club, gas station, or even industrial facilities could just open next to your rental property tomorrow. No warning, no protection, and no recourse, and nothing you can do about it because there is no any zoning to protect your property or your investment. And they can do whatever they want to do because they have equal rights just as you. I've seen rental property lost between 20 to 25% of their value when unwanted commercial development move just next door to that property. Tenants moved out, new tenants demand lower rent. Even with the lower rent, they still break the lease within 3 months as well because they were just not comfortable with the commercial development right next to them. So you want to make sure you plan accordingly and research any planned development coming up in the area. Your investor agent can actually help you answer a lot of these questions and make sure that you are not buying a property next to an upcoming big commercial development. And this is why I always stick to an established neighborhood, and I always advise my clients to do the same. You want to buy in a place with a strong HOA, deed restriction like your KD, Cypress, Pearland, Spring, the Woodlands, Humble, Conroe, among other places, because this place already have an established strong HOA and zoning that will protect your property. So that way you just don't deal with any nightmare of a commercial development. Just, start break ground and start building right next to your property. So this issue is majorly common in the cities of Houston itself, but in the suburb, you really don't deal with this because, like I said, there will be HOA restrictions, there will be deed restrictions that actually help protect your ownership, that protects the value of your property and value of your investment, and even the future value as well. So you can research HOA restriction at hoa-usa.com and check deed restriction through the county record and even the HOA record to make sure you're buying a property with a proper deed restriction with a strong HOA rules and regulation. That takes me to my truth number 8, that if you cannot undo this one, please do not buy property in Houston, Texas. And that is the school district control your rent prices. School district don't affect families, they control your rent prices and determine your investment success. Properties in top-rated schools like your KD ISD, your Cypher ISD, your Clear Creek ISD, they command between 15 to 20% higher rent than the identical properties in an average school district. A 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in KD ISD might rent for $2,200, while the same properties in a low-rated school district can rent for around $1,700. And that is $500 per month difference, which means $6,000 annually of the same comparable property, but just because they belong to different school districts. But here is what most investors actually miss. School rating changes, and when they drop, your property value and rent price drop with them as well. I've seen investors losing $200 to $200 in monthly rent when school ratings decline. Smart investors will typically research schools district stability, not just the current rating. They look at the future school district projection, how the kids are performing in their tests, and how are they even positioning the school to continue to be a top-rated school. So you want to look for consistency, like I said. You want to look for funding, you want to look for growing enrollment, and you want to look for strong community support for the school district. It's either you pay for premium school districts upfront or accept a lower rent forever. There's really no middle ground in Houston rental market. So you want to make sure you research the school rating at greatschools.org and use schooldiggers.com to track the rating of the school for the last 5 years before you buy that property. That takes me to the truth number 9, which is crime data impacts cash flow. Crime statistics just don't affect safety. They directly impact your cash flow and property value in a way most investors never consider. Properties in a high crime zip code can face between 30 to 40% in higher insurance premium as compared to properties in a much more safer neighborhood. That could easily mean about $2,000 to $3,000 every year that you are just flushing down the drain. But you know what? Insurance is just the beginning. High crime area attract transient tenants with shorter lease terms, more frequent turnover, and higher property damage rates. This is very, very, very important. The overall consequence means that you will lose money, you will lose sleep, and you will have a lot of headache and frustration. Eventually, you might have to sell that property at a loss in order for you to move on to the next one. Because as you already know, tenants turnover could cost you $2,000 to $4,000 in lost rent, cleaning fee, releasing fee, among other things that you have to spend money on in order for you to get a new tenant. Properties in a safer area can keep tenants for 2 to 5 years longer on the average. So this is why, again, you want to make sure you do your research properly. And again, if you want to work with someone like me, I can actually break all this thing down for you and make your life a lot easier. Property value in higher crime area appreciates slower and decline faster during market downtown. Your $300,000 investment could worth about $250,000 to $240,000 when the crime rate spike. So smart investors typically research crime trends, not just the current statistics. They look for areas with improving crime rates and increasing police presence. Again, look into the areas like Katy, Cypress, Sugarland, Humboldt, Tomball, Conroe, and Spring, Texas, and you'll be glad you did. You want to pay more attention to safer area up front, or pay forever in a higher insurance, frequent turnover, and poor appreciation neighborhood. The math always favors safety, so research crime data at crimegrid.org by zip code and use sportcrime.com to track recent criminal activities by neighborhood. And this takes me to my number 10 truths if you cannot handle. You want to make sure that you hire a local expert like myself, a real estate broker that has done this many times, especially that real estate broker that also own a property in the same neighborhood or in the same zip code or in the same area, in the same city that you're looking to invest, because they can share their personal experience with you. This is one of the most important things that people always overlook. They think they can just do their research on Zillow and just buy that property without ever visiting the property. Of course, they always regret their action. Houston real estate investing require local expertise, or you will get crushed by everything we just discussed. Out-of-state investors and local investors who try to do it alone consistently fail because they don't understand these local challenges I just discussed with you. Like the real estate professionals like me, we do. They buy properties in a flood zone, they overestimate the rent, how much they're going to make, they ignore the drainage issue, they underestimate the operating cost, and they also screen tenants poorly, which led to multiple eviction or vacancy for them. So this isn't a market where you can just wing it online and think you can just buy the property successfully. Of course, if you're experienced, if you have done this multiple times, you can definitely do it by yourself. But if this is your first or your second or third one, you still need the help of a local real estate investor agent to make this happen for you. So you can watch video all day long. If you don't work with a professional, you will still lose money. So like I said, you need someone who understands the Houston unique market and the neighborhood challenges and opportunities. Like myself, my client actually succeed because we navigate these challenges together, because I'm also a rental property investor myself, and most of these neighborhood I'm talking about, I do run away from them and I help them buy in a good place that I'm buying them myself. So if you're serious about Houston real estate and you really want to take action, I mean serious about it, not just gambling or just dabbling around, and you can undo these 10 truths I just discussed with you, I want to help you succeed. You can find the link to my calendar in the description below. Make sure to put a time that works for you. Let's have a 20-minute conversation about your goal and your investing goals and what you want to achieve. I'll be able to help you make a smarter decision and save you countless of headache that you will have encountered if you do it by yourself. This isn't for people that are just looking around. Again, if you are serious about it, I will be willing to help you make a smart move. So if you are new to my channel, I welcome you to subscribe here, because I drop a lot of educational content right on this channel every single week that will help you save you money, save you time, and help you a lot of rookie mistakes that a lot of people still continue to make. So hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you don't miss my next video. And before you go, I want you to actually watch this video where I walk you through why investing in Houston, Texas can make you rich in 2025 and beyond. This is the same strategy that I've used to help a lot of people to go from no property to now 10 rental properties. So you don't want to miss that. I break it down for you step by step, and you will be glad you did. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the video. Peace.